Alright, welcome to Legacy Crusaders YouTube channel. This is Benji. I'm here with my boy Ronald. Ronald, what's up?
Glad to be here.
Alright, cool. So Ronald made day 2 at Nats. We all went, me, my brother, and Ronald, and he made day 2. So we're going to take a look at his Mekk-Knight Invoked deck, where he was 1 game off of making top 64. It is a little weird, slightly spicy. Show us the good stuff.
Alright, awesome. So, first of all, we start off with the Trifecta, Alistair, the Invoker, triple copy. No need to explain this card. This card gets you your Invocation and starts off all your fusion plays. Next, I'm proxying a few cards, but I played triple Ash because hand traps were very important in this national event, since I was mainly going up against Goki and Trickstars, and 1 interruption or 2 interruptions can cost them the entire game, and made my life a whole lot easier. The best hand trap, in my opinion, for this entire event was definitely Joel and Lockbird.
Did you use it a lot?
I used it almost every single game. I would either draw this or Ash, and I would interrupt my opponent. Mainly kill the Sky Striker Trickstar or the pure Sky Strikers. When I activate this, their turn almost stopped. So this card really pulled a lot. Next, to the Mekk-Knights. I played triple blue, even though everybody was telling me to play double blue.
I figure you can get away with double blue.
You could, but I just like seeing blue in hand for my following combos that I'll let you guys know about. Alright. Triple purple, because purple is literally the best Mekk-Knight. Tag out, dodge damage, or if you really need to, you just keep him on board as a beater and not die from an OTK or some reason.
Alright.
This is where I get a little weird. I play double Indigo Eclipse because I play Desires in the deck, and losing this guy really stops me from OTKing my opponents, which I feel is one of the most important things about this deck. Most games, if I didn't OTK my opponent, I did not win the game. And most of the times I 2-0'd when I OTK'd, and he was a part of this, so big part. I played 1 Red Moon. I was debating on him or Yellow Star, and I just thought Red Moon was the best one, just because I can use him as a bluff, scare, and people would have to react to him once they read his effect to pop something in the column. Now, the Mekk-Knight that really won me this tournament and made me go so far is actually the vanilla, Mekk-Knight Avram. He's a 2k beater, which he's searchable, normal summonable, so if I don't have Alistair, I would normal summon him and just attack for massive damage. No normal summonable monster in this entire tournament was able to get over him. Trickstar Canadian at 1800, didn't stand a chance. I would just attack over, or sometimes just summon him to do quick damage.
Some other features, he's unaffected by Widow Anchor.
Yes, which played a real big part in the tournament. Also,
and you have some combos with him as well.
Yeah, I'll show the combos a little bit later. And the final monster is actually the monster that does the main combos with Avram, is Grinder Golem. And Grinder Golem is really the card that really made me go far. And I'll show the combos later in the video.
Okay.
Now, onto the spells. Triple Meltdown gets you your Alistair Invoker. Triple Terraforming gets you your Meltdowns. Pretty simple, pretty basic. Every standard Mekk-Knight Invoked build should have this. I'm practicing 3rd Invocation, but I played 3 Invocations at this tournament.
Yeah, you had mine. I left it home.
Yeah, it's okay. The reason I played 3 over 2 is I was a little bit terrified of Reincarnation, and sometimes hard drawing this card is really worthwhile, especially if I can turn 1 Elysium against a Goki player. I just look at them and just wait for them to create a decent enough board before they summon the Tri-Gate, and you just banish their entire board. So, triple Invocation was really helpful. I play triple Scapegoat. This card made it so I don't die. And this card really pulled in at this tournament. Scapegoat is a god card, and I wouldn't be surprised if this card gets banned on the next ban list.
I hope so.
I don't. Now, I was playing the new Mekk-Knight spell, World Legacy Memories, at 3. A lot of people are telling me to play it at 2, but I just want them to see this card as soon as possible, especially if I was going against a Trickstar player, because a lot of times they would go in for like a strong, board and try to kill me with their board load. So I wait for the board load to attack, and I switch into Legacies, and I just summon purple in defense mode, or I just wait till their end phase in Legacies. And it's also nice to know that I can use this at end phase when I don't have the Scapegoats. So World Legacy Memories really helped out in that sense.
Technically, he can summon Red Moon into a column. You need to pop a monster in. Not that I'm sure comes up that
that actually did not happen. Most of the time I was just bringing out purple. In one case I did bring out Avram, just to have it
bounce back at end phase so I can use my grinder combo the next turn. But that was because I was out of targets in my deck. So that's what happened. I played 2 Pot of Desires. I didn't want to play 3 because I didn't like the idea of Pot of Desires into a Pot of Desires. And also, there were some matches where I hit 2 invocations or hit my entire Mekk-Knight engine, and it really did hurt. But going +2 off the banner stand, it was worth it. It was worth it.
Big 9, got it.
Yeah. I played 1 Monster Reborn. This card is probably the one card I'd probably take out of this deck. It really did not help me so much as I thought it would. It did come in a lot of help in one of the later games, but specifically this card, I would take it out. It didn't really do much. Now finally onto the traps. I played triple Impermanence. Impermanence is probably the best hand trap in this format after Droll. Just for the simple matter is there were a lot of people in the Gokis that were doing this weird combo where they would Marauding Captain into an Aqua Dolphin and they pluck a hand trap out of your hand. All hand traps have 0, so they can easily get rid of it out of your hand. But Infinite Impermanence is a trap card, so they can't take it out. So this card really stopped the Firewall or the Assault when they would pluck out the only hand trap I had in my hand.
And as we saw from the finals of the WCQ, it mattered that the card used to stop the Impermanence was not Aqua Dolphin. It had to be Drag Down to the Grave.
Yeah, so Drag Down to the Grave is also a card that would actually ruin this. But luckily for me, I didn't verse any opponents who played Drag Down. But it didn't really matter if they did or not because I always opened up at least 2 or 3 hand traps. I was just very lucky this tournament in that sense. And now the final card, triple evenly matched in the main deck. This card really saved my life a lot of times opening this because Trip Star players would commit to an entire board or Sky Striker players would commit to an entire board. And having this in my main deck and just them going past turn, I just look at them, I go battle phase, and I evenly match. Or I would just play this in the game 1, take it out in game 2, bluff it out, go to battle phase, and they would reincarnate me and I get a new hand, usually to unbrick myself, which a lot of times I did that and they fell for the bluff.
It also gave you enough traps to actually use Mekka to actually negate
Ironically,
trap cards.
I did not negate a single trap card this entire tournament. I rarely went into Mekk-Knight. Mekk-Knight was actually very situational in this scenario, but I'll explain later.
All right, let's see the extra deck.
The extra deck. For fusions, I went double Purgatorio because this card really got rid of most boards. Ability to attack everything, gain 200 for each card your opponent controls, and doing piercing damage. A lot of people weren't expecting the piercing damage. They didn't really read the card beforehand. Only the pros really knew what this card did and they knew to fear it. So this card at 2 is a necessity because this thing gets over entire boards.
I guess if you hand trap a Goki board and they can't end with the final board, you can make the Purgatorio like you have the space for it.
Yes, and in some scenarios, before I'd make the Purgatorio, I'd wait the turn, I'd Impermanence the Phoenix, and then I would attack with Purgatorio. The reason I was able to Impermanence the Phoenix was because I was stupid and did not play Assault in my extra deck for Cherries targets, so I would always Cherries their Goblins.
Okay.
So next, I played 2 Mekk-Knight, but I only have 1 here right now because again I was borrowing Benji's right here. But I did not go into Mekk-Knight as much as I should have. I really went into Purgatorio most often out of any of the invokes. Most people wouldn't let me go into the Mekk-Knight. So
Okay.
I played 1 Elysium. Just because sometimes I need this card to sit and it has a 4,000 defense and a really sick effect where I can tribute it and banish all monsters on the field because Elysium is all attributes. So this card came up 1 or 2 times, very situational, but it was really me going first, opening Invocation and an Alistair, and going and wrecking a Goki board, really, before they can finish their setup. And now the last Invoked I played is actually the Water Invoke, Cactus. This card really pulled in a lot of work this tournament because almost every single card
in this tournament targets and destroys, or targets or just destroys.
Oh, I have to shout out a guy, Austin, who I asked him if he had one, and he got it off his friend because we needed it last second. Anyways, thanks, Austin, and your friend. I didn't get your friend's name, but thanks for that.
But yeah, the Cactus really came in clutch. 29 defense, ability attack and defense mode, and can't be targeted. If I was ever in a tough spot, I would just summon Cactus, and it would really protect me for literally the entire game.
All right.
Going on into the Lynx. I played 2 Lynx Spiders just because I needed one for a scapegoat and I needed the other one for the grinder combo, which I will show you later. I played 1 Link Karibo for the Borreload play, or just to protect myself. I played 1 Borreload just because this card is too good not to play. I played 1 Kagari as a cherry target, and what I would normally do is I'd wait for them to drones, banish out the Kagari, or if they go into the Kagari first, I would wait for them to go into the Shizuku, and then cherries their
the other 2 Kagaris.
The other 2, that way I have a fire target engraved and possibly a water target later to go into Invoked Cactus. So that was cool. For the Nightmares, I only played 4. I played the Cerberus, the Goblin, the Phoenix, and the Unicorn.
Was the additional normal summon used often?
The additional normal summon was actually used in a few scenarios, just to summon a second Invoked monster. One time I summoned Purgatrio and Macabre, just so I'd have the extra support there in case I wasn't able to kill them with the Purgatorio. But they would usually die at that point. Okay. But Goblin did come in a little bit of support. The card that really came in most help was probably the Unicorn, as I'll show you with the grinder.
Did you ever draw any extra cards off of the Unicorn?
Always. So the thing, okay, I think it's best to show the combo right now.
Did we go through the whole extra deck?
Yeah.
Okay, so in that case, yeah, let's just run through the combo.
So for the combo, what you really need is just
Grinder and Purple Knight, right?
You just need a Grinder, a Purple, or a Blue. So your opponent will control a monster in any zone. Doesn't matter what zone. Either extra deck monster or it would be a spell or trap. What you would do is you would summon the Grinder behind the extra deck monster, and you
or in front of a spell or trap.
Exactly. And what you would do is you would summon your Purple Nightfall. Use the effect of Purple Nightfall to tag out. But this combo also works with Blue because you can also have the Blue and still do the same thing. Purple is just an extra insurance for the following turn.
So this is their extra deck monster?
Yes.
Okay.
So I would summon the Blue Sky, activate effect to search 2. If they allow this to resolve, I would search out Mekk-Knight Avram and Mekk-Knight Indigo Eclipse.
And you have 2 tokens.
And I have 2 tokens at the time. So the tokens you would place in the far 2 columns, and this is what you would do. You would go into a Lynx Spider with the token in the other extra deck monster zone. Afterwards, you would set any card in your hand and special summon the Indigo Eclipse. Use the effect of Indigo Eclipse to move to the far left column. Use the effect of Lynx Spider to special summon Mekk-Knight Avram. The problem with Grinder Golem is it doesn't allow you to normal summon for the turn, but that's fine. Next thing you do is you link Mekk-Knight Avram with the other token, and you go into whether or not there's a monster board or a spell trap board. You go into
Cerberus or
Phoenix. Most of the time it'd be Phoenix to get rid of a back row. So you would discard one of your cards in hand as cost, and pop a back row. Now you freed up a little bit. So you unbrick your hand this way. Next thing you would do is you go Lynx Spider, Mekk-Knight Blue Sky to go into either Cerberus to pop your own Grinder Golem, or you would go into the 3, go into Unicorn, and shuffle back the Grinder Golem into the deck. That way you can use the combo again later, but in a different circumstance, where you get more like special summons. But that's just one of the combos that Grinder Golem offers. You can also do the same thing with Scapegoat, which is much more free, because you can still get the normal summon and still do the Alistair plays.
Okay.
But yeah, that's one of the combos of this deck.
So pretty much it's just an additional monster, and you didn't have to waste all your extra deck space on like Akashic Magician and all that other stuff.
The purpose of this is actually not so much to build up a board, but more to unbrick your hand if it's bad.
So just purposely activating Nightmares to get free cards.
Exactly. And
well, you could have got into Goblin just to pitch a card if you really wanted to. Not that you can normal again.
Exactly. You could do that too, but I feel that Unicorn is the best one because you can always reuse the Grinder Golem later.
Okay.
So, on to the side deck, which was probably the most important thing. I played triple Sphere Mode. I was not able to use this card once. I did not get the chance to use this. I never drew this. And the few times I did verse the Goki players, which was only 2 times, I actually drew once with one because of time. And the reason was, game 1 I won because I cherries his Goblin. He didn't know how to play around the Goblin. Game 2 he beat me, and then game 3 he took so long with the Goki combo that he didn't know what to do. Or another scenario was I just drolled them and ashed them both games, and I just 2-0'd them.
It was just an additional hand trap that never came up.
Yes, and it's unfortunate that I was never able to resolve it, but it's still a very good card in the format to use, especially if you cannot break the Goki board. Ghost Reaper with the cherries really pulled in a lot of work. Killed the Sky Striker Trickstar matchup for several reasons. When they were about to make a Borreload, I would just cherries the Borreload, so they just have a bunch of nightmares on board that they don't know what to do with. Or another thing I would do is I would cherries the Kagari, as I said before, and leave the Shizuku so I can still go into my Cactus plays. So, cherries did a lot. I played 1 Typhoon for the Altergeist matchup, and ironically, the one time they flipped Imperial Order on me, I had the Typhoon in hand to resolve, so Typhoon really just did its job when it needed to.
And you don't need to slide too much for that matchup, right? Because it's one of the better matchups you have?
It is one of the better matchups, but you have to pray you open up more Mekk-Knights. In this case, you don't want to really have so many Invoked cards. Unless you can fusion some from the hand and you're willing to sacrifice the Alistair as a resource. But honestly, I only versed 1 Altergeist player, and that match went very smoothly.
Alright.
I sided in 2 Hate Grenades for the Pure Sky Striker matchup. I only versed 1 Pure Sky Striker this entire tournament, and I wasn't able to use Hate Grenade against him because I just didn't draw it. And it wouldn't really help because he never used multi-roll against me, which was a little bit weird. He was actually very smart against the fight against me. What he did was kept on searching Widow Anchors, so when I would try to attack over him, he would just keep on recycling Widow Anchors, and eventually he would just break my board and kill me. So that card didn't really see much play. The card that really, I have to say, won me the tournament is...
It didn't win you the tournament. You didn't win the tournament.
Not the tournament, but it
got you to day 2.
Yeah, got me to day 2. Thunder King Ryle. You normal summon this, the opponent looks at you like, why do you play this card? And
I mean, it locks you up too, but it's also technically like a Blackhorn.
Yeah. So whenever they would go, say they would scapegoat you and they would try to go into a Borreload, you would try to negate the Borreload, or you try to negate the monster before the Borreload, or they don't have any monster that can normal summon and get over this. The Gokis don't have, unless they make the...
I guess for Scorpio could get over it.
But they would have to trigger an effect to special summon Scorpio, and at that point you could tribute Thunder King.
You can be normal if they don't have anything that's not a Goki.
But
that's fine. We'll continue.
Yeah, most of the times they don't really have it in their starting hand, they search it out. But it was mainly for the Trickstar matchup because their strongest monster is Candida, and Candida can't bunch over this.
Yeah.
Yeah, I hate Candida. And honestly, this card just stops any player's turn in this entire format. Shared Ride. Triple Shared Ride.
Yeah, I took those back the other day, so
yeah, we don't have them for now. It's alright. Shared Ride, it's Maxi of the format.
Alright.
It's easy enough.
Okay, cool. Anything else you want to say, Ronald?
I thought Mekk-Knights were the best deck. I still think they are the best deck in this format. I actually wasn't able to showcase them enough at Nats, sadly, because I actually lost the first 2 rounds of Nats. And then I proceeded to being undefeated until the last round of day 1 where I tied. And then I won the first match of day 2, and then I lost the second match of day 2.
Yep,
so,
and that's the one that determines whether you make it or not. Although you could still end up in 65th. I think Interception landed in 69th or something.
Actually, the guy that I tied with in the first day, he ended up 65th. Had I won, we would have both been in the top 64.
Oh, that's pretty funny.
So, it's unfortunate, but that's what happened.
All right, Ronald. Any shout-outs?
Shout out to everybody at KG. Shout out to Benji for making this video. Shout out to his brother for calling me Avram. Everybody started calling me Avram after I started playing the vanilla. Shout out to my boy Lewis who won me a lot of cards. My boy Joshua and just everybody from the community there.
There's
They really
Josh.
helped me out.
Hi, Josh.
Hey, Josh. So yeah, I just want to say thank you to everybody who helped me get this far.
All right, cool. See you next time.
See you next time.